Welcome to the FarmBits podcast, a product of Nebraska Extension Digital Agriculture. I'm Jackson Stansell.
And I'm Samantha Teten.
And we come to you each week to discuss the trends, the realities, and the value of digital agriculture.
Through interviews and panels with experts, producers, and innovators from all sectors of digital technology, we hope that you step away from each episode with new practical knowledge of digital agriculture technology.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the FarmBits podcast. I'm Jackson Stansell.
And I'm Samantha Teten.
And we will be your hosts each week on the FarmBits podcast. To begin, we would like to introduce ourselves and provide a little background for you to get to know us better. Sam, would you like to get us started?
Sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Samantha Teten, and I'm a master's student in Dr. Luck's lab, which is the same lab as Jackson, and I'm getting a degree in mechanized systems management. I grew up on a corn and soybean farm in southeast Nebraska in the village of Johnson, where I was the typical farm kid in 4-H and FFA. And basically from the sixth grade, I have known I wanted to work in agriculture. And ever since then, every interaction I have with growers or on internships makes me certain I'm in the right industry and in good company. I attended the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for my undergraduate degree in agronomy, and then decided to further my education with a master's degree with a focus on precision agriculture, all with the intention of landing a job in industry. Over the past few years, I have interned with Helena, Syngenta, Pioneer, and my brother's crop consulting business, and I've loved competing on the UNL soil judging team over the past few years. My research focuses on sensor-based nitrogen management using both UAVs and active crop canopy sensors in non-irrigated on-farm research sites.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. My name is Jackson Stansell, and I'm your other host, and I'm a master's student in agricultural and biological systems engineering at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Prior to starting my master's at Nebraska, I graduated from Harvard, where I studied bioenvironmental engineering and played football for the Crimson. Though I lived in several states when I was younger, I did most of my growing up in southeast Alabama, so Alabama is home to me. I didn't grow up on a farm, but was around agriculture a lot in my hometown of Dothan, Alabama, which is the self-proclaimed peanut capital of the world and home of the National Peanut Festival. I had an opportunity to work with precision agriculture as an undergraduate intern and was immediately hooked. So I decided to go to grad school for ag engineering with a focus in site-specific crop management. Since coming to the University of Nebraska, my master's research has focused on using high-resolution geospatial data, particularly aerial imagery, to guide in-season fertigation management decisions. Most of this research has been conducted on-farm in conjunction with the On-Farm Research Network, and I've really enjoyed getting to learn about irrigated agriculture and pushing the boundaries of fertigation management in the most practical research scenarios possible.
So Jackson, I know everyone asks you this, but what made you decide to come to the good life of Nebraska and make the move from the East Coast?
Sure. So when I was an undergraduate at Harvard, I had a signals and systems class where we were kind of looking at image analysis and how to use Fourier transforms and filters and all that sort of stuff. And believe it or not, I was just looking for things to get interested in because the class was very biomedically focused, but we had an opportunity to do projects outside of biomedical engineering. And I stumbled across precision agriculture as an area where image analysis was really coming into play as a kind of a practical application of what we were learning. And so I did a project involving normalized difference vegetation index and trying to assess crop health from aerial imagery. And I was really interested in what I was learning and trying to do. So I explored internships, and I actually found an internship out here at the University of Nebraska with the On-Farm Research Network. And my mentor during that time was Laura Thompson. So I came out here during the summer of 2017 and worked for Laura Thompson and enjoyed that experience so much and the opportunity to work with precision ag that I decided to stay on and work with her as a remote intern, writing articles and working on tools for growers to use. And ultimately, that led us to trying to develop the idea for a podcast. And it wasn't acted upon at the time back in 2018. But now that you and I are both here as graduate students, it's been something that I think we've both talked about and been passionate about. And so really that whole internship that I had is why I'm here today and why we're working on this podcast. And Samantha and I are both really passionate about digital agriculture site-specific crop management, and helping producers. And that's why we're here, and we're really excited to explore digital agriculture more through this podcast each week. And so I guess now that we've both pretty thoroughly introduced ourselves, we want to get to the real meat of the episode, which is to tell you why we're here and what we're going to talk about.
First, let's address the name. The name of this podcast is FarmBits, which is a play on the word bit, which is the most fundamental unit of information in digital applications and computing. As you may know, bits may take the value of either 0 or 1. When they are strung together, they form binary strings, and a group of 8 binary digits is commonly called a byte. So you may be familiar with bytes from words such as megabyte, gigabyte, and terabyte, which define the storage capacity on your phone or your computer, or the USB drive you may use to store your yield monitor data. The reason we decided to play off the word bits is because the focus of this podcast is digital agriculture and agricultural technology, and bits are the basis of any digital system. Bit is also used colloquially to describe a small amount of something. So we aim each week to bring you just a bit of information about digital agriculture and ag technology.
As producers, crop consultants, advisors, or other agriculturalists, we understand you have a lot on your plate every day as you fill the roles of agronomist, marketer, technologist, mechanic, and many others at the same time. So we are here to help you navigate the ever-evolving landscape of digital ag. If you've been involved in the agricultural industry for even a short period of time, you are aware of the daily and persistent challenges. Things such as commodity markets, the decreasing number of chemical manufacturers and commodity processing companies, the demand for sustainability, transparency, and locality by your consumers, just to name a few. We believe that digital agriculture can be implemented to mitigate the impacts and open new possibilities to these challenges. While not a silver bullet, digital ag technologies are emerging and are getting better year by year. Some have deemed the increasing availability and focus on technology the fourth agricultural revolution. The impacts of this revolution cannot possibly be determined at this point, but the progress and the potential for where it could take agriculture is extremely exciting.
For as exciting as these technologies are, and all the perceived possibilities they create, adoption of ag technology is slow, and many growers are still seeking the value of these technologies on their farm. The reality is that many agricultural technologies are still maturing and need exposure in real-world operations before they can be practically implemented. On this podcast, we will cover the trends, the realities, and the value of digital agriculture. We will discuss technologies ranging from soil sensors and testing to drones and satellite imagery and everything in between. One thing that we want to make clear to begin with is that we are not the experts in the vast majority of these topic areas. So the way we'll approach these topics is by interviewing experts in the particular area that we are covering. By bringing these experts on the show, we will be learning alongside you as we explore the realm of digital ag. We'll be releasing 20 to 30-minute podcasts every Thursday, and we will seek to match the topic area of which typical activities are going on during that time of the year, or with what's going on in current events.
If the description of this podcast has piqued your interest and it sounds like the type of information that you'd like to listen to each week, subscribe to the podcast and set your notifications to let you know each time we release a podcast episode. We would love to hear from you with your feedback, so if you have comments or questions for us at any time, please reach out to us over email at anydigitalag@unl.edu, on Twitter at anydigitalag, our own personal Twitter handles listed in the show notes, or in the comments section on your favorite platform to listen to podcasts.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today on the FarmBits podcast.
We would like to thank Nebraska Extension for their support of this podcast and their commitment to providing high-quality informational material to members of the agricultural community in Nebraska and beyond.
If you enjoyed this episode and it sounds like something you'd listen to each week, subscribe to the podcast and set your notifications to let you know each time we release a podcast.
We would love to hear from you with your feedback, so if you have comments or questions for us, please reach out to us over email at anydigitalag@unl.edu, on Twitter at anydigitalag, or in the reviews section of your favorite podcast platform.
See you next week on another episode of FarmBits.